Okay, guys, I'm going to go over some troubleshooting notes, V4, V4 alt. Mainly the idea is when you continue on to the UAP V3, it teaches you all the stuff that I keep getting emails about dealing with a V4. Like if people go and create a profile to put their own pages on their own website, then very often their pages are going to look something like this. Here, I'm just sort of trying to dock through this up right now, and their pages will look like that. And they'll say, how come, man, there's nothing happening? Well, they forgot to upload the MOWG-V4 files folder because that has all the images and source code and everything else. So I'll touch on that. Another one is even when they see it right, sometimes the image doesn't come through, and I want to touch on that. And so I got just a bunch of notes I want to go through real quick. I'm going to go through some really cool concepts soon, but first let me start with this. Fast note, this is kind of like troubleshooting slash FAQ. I don't think you can use .info sites at all for MOWG projects. Don't use .info. That's because it's a four-letter extension, info. And MOWG was programmed to identify three-letter extensions. I don't know how it behaves with .info. If it works great, then we must have done something with the upgrade at one time or another and fixed it. So it can work with .info, and I just don't recall. But I have some people that get a hold of me and say their .info sites don't work, and people ask me if they can use it. I don't think you can, but you can always try. Okay, aside from .info sites, when you submit sitemaps to Google, you are not submitting the moji-sitemap.html page or any .html page at all. You are submitting the master-sitemap.txt pages. I have guys that keep screwing that one up. They go into Google Webmasters, and here, let me try to go somewhere kind of interesting. Where? Okay, I thought I had it. I'll show you. Industry dash. Oh, well, here, let's just do it with this one. Okay, sitemap. We got out all these moji-samples.com, moji-sitemap.html page with all of these projects. So if you want to submit any of these sitemaps to Google, you don't just give them the .html page. That doesn't work. So let's say you just take one of these things. You got to change your this is supposed to be the sitemap, except not .html. Google Webmasters does not read .html pages. It reads simple text pages, UTF-8 encoded, regular text documents. The only thing it wants to see is one URL per line. And of course, the URLs must end in .html. We're telling Google all of these pages that exist, such that if Google visited any such page, it'll be there. That's the idea. And here's one with a broken link. So I'll wind up touching on that here pretty quick for the guys who have trouble with that, because it shouldn't be that hard to figure out. Anyway, there's that. So what else do I have on my list? That's what you're submitting, by the way, the master-sitemap.txt. So anytime Google Webmasters tell you it cannot read your sitemap, you probably gave it one like this. It cannot read these. These are hyperlinked. They have a bunch of coding involved. That's not what Google wants to see. Google Webmasters wants to see .txt. Okay? And what you're doing is doing that actually with the master sitemaps to get all the links of your project. So your .txt. They're not all the same. You're not overwriting master sitemap because you're submitting the sitemap is actually here, right? Mobile-beauty / master-sitemap.txt. And for some other project, it would be mobile-beauty-pen. Okay, well, actually, let me get back. Okay, here. Like the whole whatever diet master-sitemap.txt. Okay, so when you submit sitemaps, remember that. That's what you're submitting. These whatever project / master-sitemap.txt. That's what you're submitting to Google Webmasters, right? Just take any master-sitemap.html and just change it to .txt. And that's the link that you're going to be sending Google for your website. This is for this one, but you'd be submitting this for whatever website, wherever you put your pages. Okay, there's that. All right, let me see. The main page of your website cannot redirect to another web page, even if you have the moji-sitemap.html link on it. And we talk about that a lot. When I create moji-samples or any website, and I say, okay, I'm going to put all my runs on this thing. Okay, so I got all these runs. Then I say, but, and here's the mistake. People say, but if people come to the home page, I want it to instantly go to another website. So I'm going to take this website and have it instantly redirect to another website. If you do that, this page does not count in Google's eyes, and therefore none of the pages that get linked to from here count in Google's eyes either. They do not count. They don't exist. For Google, all of this would not exist if the front page of the site instantly redirects to some other website. All right, just keep that in mind. I've seen people make that mistake. And also, no matter what the front page of your website is, whether it's one of these pages or your own page, a WordPress page, a Weebly page, a Joomla page, some page, your own HTML page, whatever it is, then that page must have a link to the MOWG-sitemap.html. It must be visible. It must be something a human can see and have time to click on, which is why redirecting to another website will not work. Google will not count your entire website if the main page redirects to another website. But if you do have your own front page and you put all these pages on your site, the Google bots will do the check to see if they can reach any page of your website starting at the front page. So they need to be able to get to any page of your website starting with the front page, and that's the idea, right? That's what's supposed to happen. Now, if the best way to do it is with the MOWG-sitemap.html. That's why we created it. MOWG-sitemap.html houses every master-sitemap for every project you ever do. You do a project, it'll create a master-sitemap.html for the project. And if you want, and I've had people ask this, can I run more pages into the same project? Yes. So if you do a project and it's for MOWG-samples.com, whatever your website is, /website-marketing, and you put 200 pages in there or 2,000, yes, you can open the profile and hit that button again, the process button, and yes, it can go again into the website-marketing folder, and it will create however many you said, 200, 2,000, any number that you put in there, and it'll add them. And so now you'll have, 400, 4,000 web pages inside here, basically. But the way it does the sitemaps, of course, is it has the newest links come up front, followed by the older links get renamed to older sitemaps, all the way down. Everything must connect to the main page, and that's why we have one sitemap link that points to MOWG-sitemap that has all of your master sitemaps. And to grab all of the URLs and submit them really fast for Google, as long as they're sitemap links for that website, then that's how you do it. Your project / master-sitemap.txt. It's always going to be the same. Domain, project, master-sitemap.txt. Okay? All right, I think I beat that horse like way to death. Just want to make sure because people miss that. So I'm trying to sort of just wrap in enough training to kind of cover everyone. Yes, your main page must have a link to the MOWG sitemap. Otherwise, Google will index your pages really, really fast. Visitors will start to come. You'll start to rank. And about the time you tell everyone, hey, look at that, here I am, then all of a sudden, poof, they vanish to page 20. Or they just vanish. And you think, huh? How come? The answer is, you told Google that there's no way to get from your main page to all of those links unless you have other ways to get to those links. Just your menus being interrupt help, some of them, but the rest of your pages can't get indexed, and so they won't, and you'll wind up like on page 20 instead of page 1. And that's why you did not put the link to the MOWG-sitemap HTML on your main page. By the way, you guys should know how that goes. How do you put that link in there? Here's how it looks in text. href equals, it's always going to be this way no matter whether you use MOWG or not. This is standard coding, right? MOWG-samples.com, and you could use the full URL or just the relative, for those of you who know what that's all about. So it would be like this. And then that's like the end of that. Now what can we do? We can say really, really fast, open in a new window. So we can add one more attribute. Target equals underscore blank. Okay. Now you might look really confused, and then it can say whatever it should say, and then the end of the A, right? That's it. And you might say, I don't even begin to understand what this thing is. I couldn't reproduce this on my own. If you feel that way, here's all you have to do. How do you get the coding? Just take it from any website because it will be just about identical as soon as one of these pages shows up. I got all this stuff happening at once here. Aye, aye, aye. Okay, here we go. Take a look. There is one of those links here. You're trying to create this for your own website, right? Somehow you're trying to just get it on your website's front page. How do you do it? Right click, view source, scroll to the bottom where it's got to be, and you're going to find something that looks like it. There it is. That's it. There's your coding right there. Open A all the way to the close of A. After that's just spaces. It's what these ampersand NBSP semicolons are all about. They're spaces. All links start with this open caret A, and they close with the final closing of the A, that one A. So this is the same as on your website. The only thing you got to change is the name of the domain. So yes, you can copy it. Yes, you can put it on Notepad like this. Boom, and it's got a little more to it. And yes, all you have to do is change your website name. Mywebsite.com, .net, .info if you did the run on that after all. As long as it does that, then it's going to be MOWG-sitemap.html. And you can have it say sitemap, you can have it say related, you can have it say external, you can have it say internal, you can have it say whatever you want. But don't make it a period, don't make it a dash, don't make it a I, don't make it a P, don't make it an E. It needs to be a word, and not a dumb word like the word and, okay? A real word. Make it personal, make it recommended. Google counts that stuff. It knows when you put a link around a period or a comma or a dash or a decimal. It completely gets all that. So you can't cheat it. Don't. Okay, don't. We teach you why you have for a reason. It works. And you could say recommended here. You could also say recommended here instead of sitemap. It doesn't matter. It's just the title tag for the link. Okay, this whole title section can be in or out as long as there's a space after the A, right? You guys should know that. I'm sort of saying it. This is normal coding stuff, how to build a link. Go to google.com and type in how to build a link or build a link HTML, anything like that. And you're going to see people explain how this works. It's very, very simple, really. It's just get used to it and then you know how to do it. You understand what the pieces mean. For instance, target equals this bit with underscore blank in double quotes. That means open this in a different window when I click on it, or at least a different tab when I click on it. Okay? All right, there we go. The no-no for Google is if you have the main page of your site redirect to another web page. Even if you do have the moji-sitemap.html link here on your real web page. But if you have it redirect to another one, then that's a no-no for Google because no one can get to the links in your website if your domain instantly redirects to some other website. Okay. Now, URL breakdowns. I created a link for URL breakdowns. People are missing them very often. They'll do something with the profiles and lose the URL breakdown. So it is now going to be paste right here, moji-crew.com/URL-breakdown. Okay, with or without the final slash. Okay, there's one for the V3, one for the V4 Alt, and one for the V4. They're different projects. They can have different breakdowns. Never worry about the middle section. That's why I have an X through it. It's just what the Moji Pro cached for the first values it ever saw when it saw that var sheet. What you do need to get is this column and this column to be exact. Do not put anything in the final box. There's nothing there. I think I was sending out some images earlier and accidentally had a dash in the final box. There should not be anything there. Do not put anything there. Okay? It should be empty. All right, there are guys who know how to use that final box because you can put stuff in there. But whatever this final box is really the very end of the URL, and this would be .html. But you could have whatever the final thing is here continue. It could be this dash special dash offer and then stop cold. Then that would be every page would end with dash special dash offer .html. People might do that if they put the ID column at the bottom, just rearrange this in such a way that the page ends with a number dash special offer .html. It's kind of weird stuff. And it's just, don't worry about it now, not for the V4 stuff. Just duplicate what you see here and you're good to go. Okay, so that's what is URL dash breakdown, and that's if you need to build those up. I'll give you a prime example right now.